Hi, everyone. It's Tessa.
And Joe.
From the Unveiling Paradise podcast.
Tessa, summer is almost here, and so many of our listeners are about to have their epic destination wedding.
And we are so excited for you guys.
Before the big day, guys, we want you to make sure you listen to these 3 episodes.
Episode 62, Deep Diving Your Wedding Ceremony.
Episode 53, Questions Your Wedding Guests Will Ask.
And episode 31, the final countdown to your wedding day.
And if you're planning your wedding here in Hawaii, hit us up and ask us about our Unveiling Paradise podcast promo.
Happy planning.
G'day, Tessa.
Hey. Hi, Joe.
How do we start with something better than that? All right, today we are talking about proposals. So
excited.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully everyone who's listening, this is maybe not even that relevant, and maybe you're just going to skip this episode because you've already got a ring on it and you don't care. But we thought it would be kind of fun to talk about proposals.
It's going to be super fun. And even if you are proposed
to
or already engaged,
to.
I think it's still going to be a fun one. I'm super excited.
Okay, so proposals are crazy. There's like so many different ways that people propose. There's just a story. I don't know if you read this story. Actually, you sent me the story, so I know you read it. It was at Disney, right? So A lot of people like to go to Disneyland, Disney World. I think this wasn't Disney
Paris.
Disney France. But yeah, Disney
Paris.
Right? Guy and a girl. I guess the guy was going to try to surprise his girlfriend. And there's like this Cinderella's or Snow White's
I think
big
it's
castle.
Sleeping Beauty.
Okay, it's one of those damn fairy princesses. Anyway, he's going to propose to his girlfriend, and he's got somebody to film it. It's just this beautiful backdrop, this castle behind, and he's going to drop down on his knee. So he drops down on his knee, and out of nowhere, like a ninja, comes like the Disney security and grabs the actual engagement ring, the box, and everything, and goes running off. And he's like kind of
so crazy.
He's like kind of dumbfounded, and he's like, what just happened? And so the Disney guy's like, you can't propose here. This is a restricted area. And like, could you imagine? Like,
I mean, it ruins the proposal.
First off, you have the courage to like actually pop this big question and try to do something epic.
This poor guy's probably so nervous and like freaking out.
Yeah, and then Disney Ninja comes out of nowhere.
Disney Ninja. Well, and steals the ring.
And then makes this big scene. And I mean, I don't even think she had a chance to say yes or no.
I was going to ask, like, I sent you the article. I didn't read the article. So like, did they get proposed? Like, did they get engaged?
I don't think she said yes. I think she said no.
Stop.
This was not the best proposal.
Try it again.
You didn't pay for the special spot for me to get engaged at. No, but I think that there are definitely do's and don'ts for proposals, right? There's things that you should and shouldn't do. And I think that's what we're talking about today, right, Tessa?
Yeah, I think there's, like you said, there's a lot of ways that you can do it right. There's a lot of ways that, and we've kind of read about some of the ones that gone like horribly wrong. So I think today we want to talk about the ins and outs of a good, successful proposal.
Yeah, and just know that everybody has cameras all the time, and they will be filming your proposal.
And it's going to be online.
It's going to be
online. So be prepared, right? Let's get started.
All right.
Welcome to Unveiling Paradise, your go-to destination wedding podcast. I'm Tessa, wedding planner and owner of Fred and Kate Events.
And I'm Joe, wedding and adventure photographer of Joseph Esser Photography. We are based in Hawaii, one of the biggest, most popular locations for destination weddings.
We want to share our real-life experiences with you, give you insight from a professional's perspective, and still make sure you're having fun in the process.
We're huge believers in the fact that planning a destination wedding can be one of the most amazing experiences, and we want to bring you along.
We're so excited to talk with you about weddings, Hawaii, and everything else under the sun.
So pack your bags and let's get started.
I'm super excited today to talk about proposals. Epic proposals. I'm really excited to talk about the burning disasters.
What do you mean burning disasters?
I sent you a link. Didn't you read it? About just like wedding proposals that have gone wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And they're so funny.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen those personally. I've seen some amazing, amazing proposals that we want to talk about. And everything in between. So I want to talk about them. I want to talk about just what do we need to do to make a good proposal.
Yeah, because we want everyone to be successful. We want
success, guys.
We want the answer to be yes. and not,
oh my God.
Man. Like that.
Just having
couldn't you do better? Couldn't you come up with something?
No is already a disaster.
Here's your ring, babe.
Just take it. It's so stupid.
What do you think? You want to do this? That's not how to do it, by the way.
It took a weird turn. So, Joe, do you want to get started?
Let's get started.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with what we always want to talk about, the rules.
The boring stuff.
The boring
Let's
stuff.
start there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get the boring stuff out of the way.
Yes, please.
But we do have to start with rules and understanding the rules of the places that you're going to propose or thinking about proposing at.
Right.
So Disney, apparently there's lots of rules of where you can and can't propose.
Going back to that story you talked about, right? I think, when we kind of looked at that article, it was gated off. It was a no entrance area. Like he chose to get up onto the stage where it was clearly, stanchioned off. So he chose to go beyond where he was allowed. I think you can propose at a lot of places in Disney, just not in the places that say do not enter.
Right, unless you get permission.
Yes.
And that's kind of the crux of this story is that the gentleman who was proposing said, I actually did get permission.
Did he?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know who he talked to. Maybe he talked to the janitor.
Proposer, if you're listening to our podcast, please let us know.
No, but that's what was his contention is that he was in this special little spot and was able to propose there because he had gotten permission.
Right. And he wanted that view of Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Yeah. And he had it all set up and somebody was recording it. So obviously it was,
it was pre-planned.
More than just hopping the fence and, dropping down. He got back there somehow. So if you do have permissions, you want to make sure that they are known by that location or that venue or, wherever it might be. Right.
That makes sense. And that's just it, right? If you're trying to not break in, but if you're trying to get around some rules, there may be consequences, right? If there's clearly a do not enter and you didn't get permission, for example, right? It's just, you run the risk of it just going really downhill. Right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here in Hawaii, there's different rules of the beaches. A lot of people like to propose on our beautiful beaches here, but there are rules. So, some of the things that you can and can't do are these just ginormous, setups where it's like, will you marry me? And it's like a giant, lit up marquee and it takes over the whole beach. As awesome as that is, and it's super cool to look at, you can't do it.
I bet it's great for photos too.
It's super awesome for photos, but you just can't do it because it's kind of an eyesore for everybody else. And imagine if everyone who came to the island set up these marquees, it would be annoying for everybody. The last thing you want to do is have, the parks director come to your proposal before you're even able to ask the question, right?
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I've also, I've had couples reach out to me to do proposals and a lot of them want champagne and alcohol is not allowed on the beach.
It's not.
It's not allowed. So
do you do it anyway?
I don't. I'm a rule follower. So I'll often get the cider and then, set up dinner somewhere else, go nuts over there, drink. But I'm a rule follower and I'm the last thing I want is as they're proposing to have the police come and interrupt their day.
What I'm hearing is you can't have a bottle of Dom Perignon.
Yes.
Unless you're pouring it into those red plastic cups.
Well, even the red plastic cups, the red soda.
I don't know what it is.
Put it into a cooler or those little a Starbucks cup. They'll think it's coffee or something, right?
And then that just takes away all the beauty and the classiness.
I know. I mean, a red solo cup doesn't make it any classier.
But you're not going to get caught.
I guess, yeah. So, it's understanding the rules of wherever you choose to it's just like a wedding, right? There's rules. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get arrested. What do you need to do, right? You can't light sparklers everywhere in Hawaii as will you marry me? It's just not allowed unless you pay for professional pyrotechnics and then do it.
Yes.
Then that's the best proposal.
Yeah, but that's not the case everywhere, right? Yep. A lot of places you can pop that bottle wherever you want.
And then do it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Pop that bottle of the Dom.
So nerdy. Well, we had to get that out of the way.
I'm so glad we got it out of the way.
But these are some things that, so rules are some of those things that can derail a great idea, so you don't want to get stopped halfway through before you can actually pop the question, right?
Okay, so talking about being nerdy.
Okay, my brother and I used to say, nerd alert.
Yeah.
All right, nerds in the house.
Nerds in the house.
We're
One
nerds.
thing that I want to say is I used to be a Girl Scout.
Is that the nerdy part?
Yeah.
Because you win.
But the Girl Scout motto was to be prepared.
Okay.
And so that's what I want to talk about with the proposal.
Okay.
So
All right.
take the Girl Scout motto and apply it to your proposal.
All right.
Right? So for example, I did this super fun proposal. We'll put it in our show notes, and it's a flash mob proposal. So this guy called me and he's like, listen, I want to go big because when she says yes, if ever she's mad at me anytime through our marriage, I'm going to be like, remember that awesome proposal that I did? And so it took a lot of planning. So for him, it was the preparing. We hired 20 dancers. We had to find a venue. We had to hire photo and videos and flowers, and he had to choreograph. We had to choreograph this dance, and he had to practice. He actually practiced even his speech, his proposal, right? So as he's out of breath, getting down on his knee, like what would he say? So it takes a lot of time and preparation to pull off a really good proposal.
Like a flash mob.
Yeah, right? Like not impromptu. Like it went down to what are they going to wear? He didn't want them to be in matching outfits. It was more of a color theme. He wanted pinks and whites, so it just kind of looks like random people in the audience, and they all kind of came out and started dancing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, but it takes practice and it takes time.
All right, I've actually seen this video of this proposal. It's totally crazy.
Yeah, I made you watch it.
No, but it's not just me. I mean, I feel like this video has like millions of people who have watched this, and like, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but
just be yourself, Joe. Just be yourself.
Okay, but I kind of was like, when I was watching the proposal, I was like, oh, this poor girl. Like, how can you say no when you have like everybody is, part of this proposal? And it's like, you imagine if she was like, I don't think I want to say yes to you, but now I have like 100 people that are like jazz handsing me in my face.
But come on, when they do these big proposals, I feel like the other person might be expecting the when are you proposing? Where's my ring? Right? I feel like a lot of these flash mobs, the ones that we've done at least, are not completely out of the blue. Like the person has no idea. It's not like they have no idea it's coming.
I would be so surprised if anyone ever flash mobbed me in my life.
What? Oh my gosh. I would be like, oh, flash mob. Here we are.
You paid your mortgage off. Jazz
flash
hand.
mob. Yeah. There should be a flash mob for every possible occasion. Like, I love a flash mob.
No, but I mean, so again, for me, the proposal, like, you don't want to also create this thing where it's like you're sort of creating this ultimatum where they have to say yes because they're going to be embarrassed because everybody's watching them. And, but I think for this couple, it was super awesome. And she was like, I think even though you say she might have maybe known that, they were planning a wedding, she didn't know about this one.
No, she did not know about a flash mob. But no. I mean, I'm saying like chances of her saying no were slim. They had a kid together at that point already. They had a house. You know what I mean? So this wasn't like an out of the blue. Yes, she did say yes.
Wait. Okay, so this actually brings me to my flash mob story. So this.
Did you do a flash mob?
No, I didn't. But I have a friend who actually was proposed in a similar way. It wasn't as epic, but there was like a 6-person flash mob, and then he proposes, and it was the flash mob. I think was her family and his family. And so they put this thing together. She was kind of like in the situation where she was like, yes.
Was she going to say no?
I don't know if she would have said yes.
Are they still married?
No, that's the thing is, I think if she wasn't in this kind of awkward situation where her family and everybody was there, they were like, okay, are you going to say yes? Please say yes. And everyone's like, yeah, please say yes because we learned this dance. But she did, and maybe I don't know what happened with their relationship. I am just...
Can you call her?
But
I need the story.
But she did say yes. They are no longer together. And so, you kind of have to think like, you don't want to... I think the last thing you want to do is like kind of force somebody into like saying yes.
So I guess I feel like that could still kind of go under the be prepared, right? Like in addition to actually preparing for the proposal, prepare the person that you're going to propose to, right? Like not say, hey, I'm going to propose, be ready, but have you had a conversation about marriage? You know what I mean? Like, have you guys had a conversation about marriage? Do you see yourselves together in the future? Because if it's coming out of left field,
right,
then I definitely feel like something a little smaller, just in case it goes the other way, might make sense. But if you know that there is a proposal coming and you know that she's into big gestures or whatever, or he,
or not, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, then it's cool, right? But I agree. But I think that's part, to me, of the Girl Scout motto of being prepared for anything.
All right, so I'm not saying don't do something grand, don't do something, big.
It sounds like you are.
No, but all right, so I don't want to undermine what you're saying, Tessa, because I do think it's really important to have a really well thought out, meaningful, significant, one of those epic moments that you're never going to forget.
Right?
So, but I don't think you also have to have, this huge production. It doesn't have to be a flash mob. But that being said, you don't want to have like some sort of impromptu proposal that's not prepared.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, right? I mean, completely the worst. I've shared this on our last episode or our previous episode about the drunken best man who is so moved at a wedding during his speech that he proposes to his girlfriend.
I still laugh about that. Just thinking about it, yeah. I still laugh about that one.
It didn't have a ring. Was just like
have a ring.
Babe.
Well, and just putting her on spotlight at someone else's wedding. I mean, there's so many things wrong with that.
And I'm pretty sure she said yes while she was rolling her eyes.
Did she say yes?
I don't know. I mean, in front of a crowd of people will say yes. And then they're like, okay, you are such a jerk.
Well, again, it's those impromptu. And I think a lot of times when people are drinking or when there's emotions involved. So remember that link I sent to you. I think I looked up wedding proposals gone wrong or epic fails or something. And there was that one.
There's so many. Okay, there's so many. Actually, this is actually some sort of twisted, sick pleasure that Tessa and I actually have. It's like
Don't tell our secrets.
No, watching proposal fails. Right?
I know. We'll send each other links all the time of these awful fails.
And they're always epic though. I mean, they're.
Well, remember there was one where his grandmother died or something, and he proposed at the funeral.
No. It was the bride's father. It was the bride's father had passed away. We're not laughing about that.
No.
But at the
condolences.
Funeral, at the funeral, and you guys will send a link we'll put a link on our episode notes. At the funeral, he proposes to his girlfriend.
It's so inappropriate.
Did he have a ring? Was it even
thought? It was, again, another one of those impromptu proposals that just go horribly wrong. You have to know your time and place. This, to me, goes back to my previous point about being prepared.
Right, and a funeral is never appropriate. This is a horrible transition, but do you remember that song by Magic?
Which song?
Why you gotta be so...
Yeah.
In the song, he's like, can I have your daughter for the rest of my life? And then the dad's like, no. So maybe that was Magic that proposed at the funeral.
After the funeral.
Dad's dead. Okay, I think it's all good.
So inappropriate. You're so inappropriate.
Okay, but anyway, time and place.
Time and place is so important.
Funerals are never the spot.
I'm going to say never.
Right.
I'm going to say never appropriate at a funeral.
Let's transition to where is appropriate. Let's go through, what are some awesome locations and places that you see for proposals?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Sure. So, there's so many different places, right? We're in Hawaii. So I think, beach proposals are probably one of the most common because you have this gorgeous view. You have
At sunset,
or... God, I had a wedding that wanted to do sunrise or a proposal.
Okay, so sunrise, yeah, again,
it's so early in the morning.
Prepare for success, right? You're
bring a jacket. It's chilly.
Where's my damn coffee?
Yeah, bring me a coffee. Bring me some cake. We'll be fine.
Marry you. Where's my coffee first? Let me think about that.
Right? And so I think beach proposals are really cool. I just did a really fun proposal at a state park.
Ooh.
So we had the mountains. The cool thing about that is you can actually rent. We had a hula mound. So a venue, but we were able to bring in the big Marry You lights because we're permitted. It's allowed, unlike on the beach. So you can do a lot more. So we had a floral display. We had custom signs about all the things he loved about her.
Oh, that's cute.
That kind of led up to the Marry You. And then he got on his knee and he proposed to her right in front of this big, I guess at that point she already knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Because it says Marry You.
Cat is out of the bag.
Yeah. Not a secret anymore.
No, but actually what I really love about thinking of location, just taking locations, wherever that location is, it is forever that couple's location, right? It's this is the spot that we got engaged.
Right.
And it's
and I think that's the cool thing, right? Is I think we talked about this in a previous episode, is a lot of people will get engaged somewhere and then they want to have their wedding there.
Right.
And I think that's really cool. On the flip though, like I've seen, and I don't know, what are your thoughts on this? But like I've seen people propose on like the kiss cams at like sporting events, and there's like 10,000 people or 20,000 people staring at them. Like, would you?
Yes,
would you
I
do
love
that?
watching these because they're always big fails. I mean, okay, so that sounds like a really bro kind of proposal where it's like
who wants that?
Where it's like, this is my dream proposal. It's like on the baseball game kiss cam,
right? Like that would be. I would be like, I would say no.
Yeah, but if you are like a huge sporty couple,
I guess so.
That might be super fun. And it's like, oh, look, everybody gets to see us, But I sort of like file those into more impromptu. Where you think? Because I feel like
I guess
you have to plan. You have to plan it.
Yeah, they're planned. Like because they get on their knee, they have the ring, they have to like get to that kiss cam, right? So I feel like it's very planned.
Yeah.
So they're prepared, but I guess not in a way that I would want it. But again, like. I think this leads me to kind of knowing your audience, right? Whoever you're proposing to, are they a private person? Would they want to be on a kiss cam?
Yeah, and that's actually so important to mention because a lot of people really want that to be a very intimate moment. They don't want a production.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything wrong, about doing like a really awesome dinner.
Like
right?
At your house.
Yeah, at your house.
You don't even have to do it at a restaurant. Like if you guys live together and like this is your safe place and you're kind of an introvert or you just like being alone, like there's nothing wrong with that.
And you can pimp out like a dinner at your house. So you could have like somebody come in and cater it. And, if you want it to be completely intimate. So maybe not your house. A lot of times vacation is a great time to propose too, right?
I think a vacation is a great place.
Because you're away from everything. And again, you're like in that moment, you're traveling, you're exploring, you're experiencing something new together.
And you're just the two of you, right? Yeah. It's nice because you're just spending quality time with each other. I really like having proposals when they're on vacation. And I do get that a lot. Couples will reach out to me. I'm sure they reach out to you, just trying to plan this epic proposal.
Right.
And I think it makes their vacation so much more special.
Yeah.
Memorable.
Well, obviously.
I hope. I know.
Or very awkward.
And then the vacation's ruined.
And so it all went wrong when she said no and we had to get into different hotel rooms.
But, if you think about the fact that if, say a couple comes to a certain spot every year and then they get engaged there, I think that is a great place then for them to consider their wedding.
A lot of times I think what's really become popular for us is that a lot of our couples or whoever is proposing, that the guy's proposing, the girl's proposing, they want to have it filmed, right? Mm-hmm. They want to have it photographed and filmed so that they can share that with everyone or just have that documented for themselves. And so that's something that I see a lot is, especially with like social media, Instagram and everything is now like making sure that your proposal is also planned out where you have a photographer there.
Right.
That can capture that moment.
It's always fun to have, like, when we've done proposals and we see the photographer, like, hiding in the bushes.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen one, like, up in the tree.
I have to tell you this. I had this proposal, and it was really funny because I had put a really nasty old tent, and I was hiding in this tent, right, with my telephoto lens, and I'm like,
oh my God.
And I talked to the guy who was going to propose where I wanted him to be and how I wanted him to propose, so that way he knew where to be, so I'd be able to document it.
Smart.
And so after the fact, so his fiance says yes, and it's awesome, and I photograph it, and she was saying, I was a little bit weirded out by that tent.
So
she's like, why did when he was proposing, she said, why did he choose to propose in front of that homeless dude? And I'm like, yes, I am so good at disguise that I look like I'm homeless. But we got some great photos.
And she said yes.
Yeah, she said yes. But that's actually the other part of it is if you do bring in a photographer or a videographer, how to keep it still a surprise where you're not like showing all your cards.
Right. And I love when photographers get like all into it. Cause like I said, I've had some like hiding in the bushes or, like, okay, you have to walk this way cause I'm going to be hiding here. It just makes it really epic when it just becomes this big production.
Yeah. Okay.
To surprise someone.
Hold on. I have one more story. So
do it.
This is like my best friend, right? Okay, Tyler, if you're listening, he's literally like one of my best friends, and he wanted me to film his proposal.
Okay.
Obviously, his girlfriend knows exactly what I look like.
Oh my God.
Right?
Did you dress
So I fully went in like incognito. I put cotton balls in my cheeks to make my cheeks all puffy. I think I blacked out a tooth. I had a hat, I had glasses. I was fully transformed who I was. And she did not know. She literally did not know. And it was so much fun because we were at this super posh, fancy hotel. He did this really
with
cool
like
thing.
A black tooth. Yeah. Like, why don't you ever go fancier?
I mean, maybe I didn't do black tooth, but I definitely, if I can find these pictures, we're putting it on our show notes. But anyway, he had this super great idea. He was at the Kahala Hotel and they have dolphins there. They have these
fabulous
dolphins.
hotel in Hawaii.
You can swim with the dolphins, and somehow the dolphin trainer has trained one of the dolphins to bring up this box. It's a floating box.
Stop.
Yeah. And so it's a floating box. He's got the engagement ring in, and this cute little dolphin swims up to them. She opens it, and like it's just an amazing, magical moment that was completely a big surprise to her, and it was a surprise caught on camera, which
you were hiding,
and I was in the bushes with my blacked out teeth. Who's that homeless guy again?
That's awesome. But I love that.
But and it was intimate. It was intimate, and it was memorable, and it was perfect for them.
Right, a dolphin always makes things memorable, I think.
But you don't have to have dolphins. There's again, like just being creative and thinking of all these different ways that you can propose to someone.
Right. Well, and again, I think it's knowing your audience, right? Some people aren't into the big gestures.
Right.
So do what makes sense for your partner.
Right. We've talked about a few of our don'ts. I want to add one more to the list. Baking the engagement ring or putting the engagement ring in the bottom of a glass of champagne.
Do people still do that?
People have done it and people choke on me.
I didn't know people still do it.
Yeah, people do it. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, listen.
Maybe is that an example that doesn't exist anymore?
I don't know, but I mean, I definitely think we should note it as a don't. Like, I will chug my champagne.
And you'll be sifting through your poop.
Well, and I grind cake like it's no one's business. So, like, that would be a disaster both ways.
That's how you lose a tooth.
Yeah. I feel like I see that on TVs. I don't personally know a couple that did that. It's always been like, if it's by the champagne, it's kind of like a box nearby, so they know it's coming versus like in your food or drink.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a good point to make. Like, don't do that. Right? So valid, Joe.
All right.
Let's talk about some unconventional proposals. Is there anything that you've seen that's kind of, out of the ordinary?
Well, I think it's interesting, like, gender, right? Talking about gender. Is it just the guy that's proposing, right? Is it the girl's proposing? Like in a same-sex couple, who's the one who proposes?
Right.
And actually the same-sex couples, we just had a cute proposal where it was two girls. One of the girls had proposed and did this amazing thing and didn't expect that the other girl was going to propose. So it was actually super cute. They both had the opportunity to propose to each other.
Right. I've seen that too.
Yeah.
And I love it when I think even, same-sex marriages or couples or different. Like, I love that they both get to propose, because to me, it shows a commitment on both sides, not just one to the other.
Does it seem sexist that the guy has to propose all the time? I mean, that seems weird. Is that outdated? I feel like it's outdated.
I don't know. I mean, I guess so. I don't know.
Guys have to be machismo and say, "Hey, babe, I got this."
I guess ring. So. I don't know.
Now I own you.
I got my own. I bought my own ring for my wedding.
Did you propose to yourself?
Yeah, I did.
I do.
I do love my ring. Thank you. Okay, so you've heard about the Waity Katie thing, right?
No.
Okay, so Kate Middleton, right? So you know Katie.
Yeah. No, I don't know Katie. I don't know her on that
Kate
level.
Kate Middleton and Prince Charles, right? So they were dating for, I think, years before they finally got married. And the word on the street, and again, I'm not verifying this, I don't know.
The word on the street.
The word on the street is that she the people around her, her circle, started calling her Waity Katie. Because
that seems mean.
It is mean. And that's the thing, is because I guess she was waiting for him to propose. Now, as a prince, could she have proposed to him? Or does she have to wait? I don't know English protocol.
I think she can get her prince. She can, yeah. She
like, could she have proposed to him?
She could propose to him.
Because I feel like if we're talking about proposals and like Meghan and Harry, I feel like Meghan would have proposed.
Yeah, true.
Right?
True.
She's American. We do what we want.
I don't like Waity Katie, though. That sounds so sad.
I know. I don't like that at all.
Katie.
But I mean, listen, she's going to be a queen.
I say, if you're listening, Waity Katie, you've already got married.
But
if I could go back in time, I would say just go for it.
Right? Just do it. Propose. I think it's okay.
And if he says no, there's other princes.
Then you just keep waiting. Then keep waiting.
All right. So as always, Tessa is the planner. Right. So let's recap and let's figure out, how do you make an epic proposal? What plans do we need to have in place, and what do we need to avoid?
So I think the first one that we talked about, right, is the boring stuff. Understanding the rules. What do you need to do? Do you need a permit? Are there places that you can and cannot propose? Are there things that you can and cannot do? We talked about sparklers, having alcohol on the beach.
Watch out for the Disney ninja.
Yeah, proposals in Disney. Like, there's ninjas, right? You got to be careful for those. So I think that is a big one to understand.
And just to add on to that, we talked about being prepared. Our resident Girl Scout over here, what's the mantra?
That's me.
Yeah, what's the mantra?
It's be prepared.
Be prepared. And how many fingers do you have to hold up when you do it?
2.
2. Okay, 2. It's like peace.
Girl Scout. No
fingers. But making sure that if you're doing a big grand proposal, that it's well planned out.
Right.
And you're
especially if you're spending a lot of money, if you're spending a lot of time on this proposal, just like a wedding, you want to vet it. You want to have a plan. You want to make sure that everything goes well, right? And that's just all part of good planning.
Right. Stress-free is the way to go.
And you're proposing. There's always going to be a level of stress, right? What if they say no? What if something happens? But as much as possible, you want to prepare.
Yeah.
And so again, talking about being prepared, I think we talk about, just not wanting to do an impromptu proposal. So don't propose at a funeral. Don't propose without any plan, without a ring, and just kind of decide to do it spur of the moment, right? It just seems like a disaster.
Usually when you're intoxicated is not a good time to propose as well.
Yeah, or grieving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then finding that location, right? Finding that meaningful location that you're going to have as part of your memory together as a couple. I think this is like a huge one for me, that, this is going to be your story. This is going to be a location, a place that maybe you're taking your grandkids to and say, hey, remember when, we proposed here 80 years ago or whatever. It's forever part of your memory and your history as a couple.
Right. And it's also, I think, just to kind of add on to your point, it's knowing your partner, right? You want to find a place that's memorable for both of you. If she or he is a very private, intimate person, we're not going to do a kiss cam at a sports game. Or if you hate sports, right? It's finding that location that just kind of makes sense for what you both want.
Yeah, and then finally, be daring, right? Go, break the mold.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, if you want to propose to your girlfriend or boyfriend, do it.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who proposes or what, or really, right? We kind of talked about the fact that we love it when a couple both proposes to each other.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Let us know if you've done that. We love that. I love that.
Moving on to the question of the week, we've got a burner.
Big time.
Tabasco sauce question. Here we go. Today's question comes from our listener, Ashley, coming to us from San Francisco.
Hi, Ashley.
All right. Her question is, what should I invest the most money on for my wedding day?
Should I go first?
You always go first, so just because you go first doesn't mean you're better.
I mean, if you went first, I would have just cut you off. So I guess I'll go.
Okay.
This is
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah. No.
I know what you're going to say.
Well, okay. I have 2 answers.
You only get one, and I already know it.
It's food.
I knew it.
But no, I bet you would have guessed cake.
I would have started with cake, which is a food.
But it's all food. And I think it's because, right, it's just the reception, the ceremony, it's a long, drawn-out party. When people are having a fun time, they want to eat. And I think food is really important. And I'm not saying it has to be over the top crazy food, right? But spend your money on quality food. So whether it be very casual and fun food like finger foods, or whether it be like a 10-course meal, know your audience, right? So create that guest experience.
And feed your audience.
Feed your audience.
Take care of them so that they can party.
You have to feed them, right? Especially if we're drinking. Like food, I think is really important.
Yes.
I don't know. What do you think?
Do you want to guess mine?
Photo? Is yours boring? Photo?
No. I mean, of course, I have to say photography, right?
You have
I
to.
have to. I mean, and I would say photo over video. I don't know if that's controversial.
I know.
But I do think
starting the drama.
Yeah, I know, and we do both. So I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot. But you know, I and maybe not just photography, but there are very few tangible things you get to take away from your wedding. Mm-hmm. You have memories. Of course, people are going to remember the food.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think so.
They're not going to be able to, they can take it home, but it's going to be rotten in a couple of days.
Right? No, and a lot of places you can't even take the food home. Right. You have to eat it on site.
But if you choose a rotten photographer and you don't invest in that, you know, that's what you get. That's what you take away. So that's why I think like a lot of photographers talk about photography as an investment, because it is something that it's the only thing that you get to take away from your wedding. And video. And video too. So thanks so much, Ashley, for your question.
Thanks, Ashley. That was a good question.
Hope we answered it.
We tried.
Have a photographer, though.
We did our best.
Have food.
Well, that was another really fun and somewhat stressful episode. Thanks for that, Joe.
It wasn't stressful. It was
thinking about those
fun.
Proposals gone bad kind of stresses me out.
You love them.
But thanks everyone for listening again. You know, we thank everyone so much. We want to make sure that you guys know that we have a Patreon now.
Right.
So check out our show notes if you want to support us. We would absolutely appreciate all the support we can get.
And it helps keep our show rolling and getting better gear so we can sound way more awesome.
That's the goal.
And of course, we always love hearing all your great stories and questions. So keep them coming, guys.
Don't forget to email us.
Yes. And until next time, this is Joe.
This is Tessa.
We will see you back here real soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Unveiling Paradise.
If you enjoy our show, please follow us and rate us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would really mean a lot.
And don't forget to also get on our mailing list and follow us on Instagram. Just do it already.
Until next time, this is Tessa.
And this is Joe.
And don't forget, your happily ever after
is just a plane ride away.